It's that time of the month where I come on and share some new moon insights from my own lived experience. And Camilla is joining us today. So Camilla, I bought in the beginning of this year as healing for my inner child. My screensaver right now is also a picture of me when I was 4 years old. I have been doing so much inner child healing, and Cam has been my buddy. She came with me to Vipassana. I told her how brutal it was. She helped me get out when we needed to leave. She's a great ally. I really recommend getting a teddy if you are moving through deep childhood repatterning, reparenting. And I thought she could be with me today because I've been quite reluctant to do a new moon sharing this month because I feel a little bit tender around the changes that have taken place over the last few days, weeks, and the redirection of my path again. And yeah, the little bits of like shame that come with changing course and realizing that we have committed to things that aren't actually what are truly in alignment and in integrity with what we want deeply. So Gemini, my sister's a Gemini, so I always like to think of the people in my life who embody aspects of these signs, which we all have in us. But really, for me, it's around this element of like discipline, the intellect, the mind, the bringing up of the unconscious into the conscious, the triggers that reveal treasures to us, the communication style that helps us to better understand ourselves and the other. We also have Venus conjunct in this new moon with Gemini and the sun. And what that means is like there's a softness and a relational love dynamic to this new moon. And what does that mean for people who are like, I don't believe in astrology? Essentially, this is just opportunity to reflect. So the new moon is a time of darkness. Like if you just think about it on a practical sense, the moon at night is a thin sliver of light. Tonight is the darkest night of the month calendar, the moon calendar. And that asks us to go inward. It asks us to question with the sliver, the sword of truth, what is going on in my life? What is revealing itself as good, nourishing truth, and what is revealing itself as distraction, chaos, monotony, boredom, judgment, stuckness, blocks, lack of energy, shame. Shame is a sleepy snake, a sleepy lizard. I once heard that shame really locks people in this void of darkness where we don't have our life force energy to change. And I recently deleted Instagram from my cell phone because I realized I was just seeing a lot of shaming and a lot of blaming and finger pointing. And it was a similar energy during, every time there's a major life political crisis, we get a lot of the shadowy behavior around relating come up. And I basically was like feeling this guilt spiral inside of me and this inability to take action on the things I want to do because I felt this pressure, which granted is important, but what is most important is how we treat each other and ourselves in the day-to-day. And I think sometimes we get into this like ego righteousness about saving the world, and yet our daily practice, our daily discipline, our daily relationships, family, relationship to our inner child, is where the big collective shifts will actually take place. And I really see that with myself, where I've just like made my world so small over these last few months and focused my attention on these little patterns from lack of safety and just bad conditioning that have kept me almost in patterns, greater patterns, relationship patterns, that I'm ready to like really dissect and rewire into something more wholesome, more kind. Sure, I sprained my ankle, as some of you know, and it's right in my training time where I was supposed to go on this massive competition, world championship freediving competition, after literally freediving for a couple of months. And the sprained ankle forced me in general to be still. And I really listened to my body, especially roadblocks in my movement. You know, I had 2 car crashes this year. I also sprained my ankle. I, as an Aries wanting to do more, am being consistently pushed back from the universe. And I posted something recently about the future is hungry. The world, the energy of the world is hungry for this yin energy, this feminine, soft, slow, sustainable approach to our trajectory, to our goals. It's good to have goals. It's good to have a direction in which you want to take action. And what's most important is how we are getting there. And yes, so I have been really having to get honest with myself about this part of me that is very indecisive and fluid and, you know, just goes with the flow, but doesn't really have the alignment and integrity to say no to things when they're not actually serving me anymore. It's like the fawner, the appeaser, until it gets too late. My big lesson has been over-promising, under-delivering. And I get overexcited about packing things into my life and calendar and dreams. And I rarely get to finish and complete all these dreams and projects and, you know, courses, competitions, things that I pack into my life. And I'm really maturing, I realize, in realizing that it's not sustainable. As much as it's fun and delicious and exciting and dopamine hitting, I am seeking greater solidified ground in my life. And yeah, so my question to you at this new moon juncture is, what are you truly able to devote to and create discipline around? And how can you simplify it so that there's actually freedom in that structure that allows for joy and play and curiosity, but actually gets you to where you need to go, if that makes sense. For example, as you know, I recently am shifting into like a new career artistic expression. I have pulled back on my facilitation work to feed my own artist. That's a discipline. That's a discipline. It's very tempting to go back to what is most comfortable. Run a course, push out more clients, like do the things that I am comfortable in earning and yeah, I know. However, there's like this deeper yearning to feed my own creative well and express that. So it's very fucking confronting to choose the path of, it's this path of not having any true consistency, because you're putting yourself out there and you don't really know how it will land or when it will come. But daily devotion, continuing the courses, like finishing these 3 acting courses, doing the show reel yesterday, putting myself out there, so vulnerable. The thing that scares me most has been a huge nervous system expansion. And on top of that, I realized I was doing that in my freediving as well. I was really expanding my nervous system, holding my breath more, being underwater more, seeing how capable I was to get to these greater depths. And this like Aries competitive push it, go, yang came in and sort of obstructed the path a bit. So I have pulled back a bit on the competitive side and have decided to go back to the original intention, which was really a practice of like somatic nervous system regulation and expansion. And so that's kind of that part. That's not to say that there is a very real part of me that wants to see what I'm capable of and meet my greatest physiological potential. I do feel I have it in me to do well, and I'm choosing not to pack it in and push myself, especially with this injury and with some of the other elements that go around it. And so that's been like very humbling and almost like embarrassing. I don't like to give up or let others down, and I'm having to really see how I often put the reputation and other people's perception of me as a greater importance to letting down my own self. Sure, it actually makes me a bit emotional, like how much I place on the external versus listening and trusting to what my true needs are, irregardless if they disappoint or upset those around me. So, feeling that growth. And I guess that kind of comes to this inner child thing. Like so many of us have learned to appease and to make our parents comfortable because they didn't have the tools at the time to co-regulate themselves and to realize when they were behaving like immature teenagers whilst trying to raise, a family. And I've really been seeing how vital it's been to go backwards and to, give myself the stability and safety I need internally and with myself, so that in these relationships that I cultivate, I am able to fully hold my own. And it's classic like codependency stuff. And it's funny how I thought, you constantly humbled the deeper you go into relating and the more radically honest you become, especially with what you really want. So just major growth and major gentleness and grace in this growth. And I hope you all can understand and relate in whatever it is that you're going through. I wanted to also share these journal prompts, which I will put in the comment section. But it's really around taking stock of old patterns that have been resurfacing and how they are inviting you, not necessarily to judge or want to fix, but to reveal a softer way to kink the kink. So a pattern or a deviation, they come as lessons. And someone told me recently, which I really loved, it's not like you need to now cut it off and redirect and be so harsh on yourself. It's like, ooh, I see myself repeating something. How do I, in this repetition, which is maybe unfolding already, be really kind and gentle and communicative? And in that, it's like it softens the sharpness. And maybe the pattern comes again next year, but the flow is not so brutal on the nervous system, on the environment, on the context. And so that's kind of what I'm seeing is like, wow, you can redirect in a way that's still gentle and graceful and kind. And I think I've gone over